Peace, infinite waters diving deep once again. What on earth is happening? This is the question I ask myself every day when I wake up. What on earth is happening? And when we look at the global awakening which is happening, when we look at the need to make it, I always say don't struggle to make it, because essentially we already are. We've already made it just being in this 3D reality. So essentially when we ask ourselves this question, many of us, our insanity has become normal. On the planet, in this 3D reality, many of us, insanity has become normal. What does the word sane mean? Well, we can go back to the Latin, sanus, healthy. So insane is unhealthy. So essentially many of us, the majority of us on this planet, unhealthy has become the new way forward. Many of us, we are living in reverse. When you live in reverse, that is evil. Live, evil. Essentially nothing is good or bad in nature, but essentially when you look at it like that, when we're living in reverse, we're actually going away from the divine flow of things. And in my mind, when I ask myself this question, what on earth is happening? I just realized that a lot of us, we are actually afraid of becoming sensitive. Many of us, we work 50 hours a week, and then it's the weekend and we just party, we dance, we have some drinks, some alcohol, some cigarettes, some weed, all of these things to get away from ourselves, because essentially it's just a mechanism to escape the looking at life, because essentially we are all born sensitive as children, but a lot of us, we pollute our bodies, because essentially our bodies are representations of planets and stars, so above as below. So essentially when we do all of that, we actually become hardened. And a lot of people, they've been hurt in life, so they say, okay, I don't want to become sensitive, I'll rather be hard. But what is hard? Glass is hard. When glass walks into something, what happens? It breaks, it just shatters and it goes into pieces. Essentially feathers, it doesn't matter what they come into contact with, they are never harmed, because they are just so light and free, so ethereal. So essentially on my journey, I've realized that it pays to be sensitive, because when you actually learn that surrendering frees you, when you surrender, you free yourself. And in essence, you let go of all of this heavy energy. All of the fear is what makes people hard. When we talk of what on earth is happening, we can even talk of the rise of technology. Technology, in essence, is just energy manipulation. And we essentially are the biological internet. And all of this technology is just showing us our human potential, because there will be a time, and I've already envisioned it, where we would no longer need this technology, because we would all basically switch on the higher capacities of our brain, and we would actually just be able to have live Skype chats via our mind. This is what the ancients did. This is what we did in a different time and space. All of these physical technologies are just showing us what we once were, because the internet is connecting the whole world. But when we talk of what on earth is happening, many people are using this technology to dumb humanity down. And many of us are also having this attachment to technology in an unhealthy way, because essentially all of this technology is just for communication. So essentially that's what we have to use it for. But many beautiful beings on this planet are actually raising the vibration of planet Earth through technology. And this is magnificent. So when we ask ourselves what on earth is happening, we have to look at the dynamics of the question and actually realize the answer is hidden within the question. Because a lot of the times when we ask ourselves what on earth is happening, we begin to realize that many of us are living outside of our element. That is why we're suffering on the planet, because we are, relaxation is what we are, stress is what we think we should be. Many of us are not relaxed. Most of us are living our lives in a rush. The majority of lives are like bars nobody goes to. So on my journey, when I had to come in contact with myself, when I had to realize I can't keep running away from my infinite beingness, I have to face myself. I have to ask myself these big questions. And you gain power through that when you ask yourself what on earth is happening. When you essentially realize that it's all about taking off the layers of who we think we are and essentially just flowing into who we are, because there's no effort to become who we are. We already are. But a lot of us, we are still living up to society's expectations. And for me, the biggest light bulb moment was, you have to let go of society's expectations. Even through my qualifications I realize that's nothing in terms of what I've learned through just being still and just letting source confirm within my own being that essentially I am the living book. So it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how many doctorates you have. Essentially, we are the living book, and we have all the information within us. Babies have everything within them, and essentially at the right time, they will remember who they are. But what happens is, so many of us, we enter a state of amnesia, spiritual amnesia, where essentially we lose the memory of our human potential. How much of our brain capacity are we using? Scientists can say we're only using 1% or 10%. Science, sair, coming from the Latin to know. So a scientist is no different from you. You are a scientist. You're a cosmic scientist. We're all scientists because that's all it means to know. But essentially, when we actually realize this, what on earth is happening, we actually realize that we have a lot of responsibility on planet Earth. It's not just about taking from the planet. It's about looking at everything around us as sacred. And yes, we can make a change. All of us can make the change. When essentially we realize that whatever we are doing is impacting everything around us. You have great people who have done work, people like Greg Braden, many people who have done work on the heart, and realizing that the heart is emitting on an electromagnetic spectrum more than the brain. So the energy that is emanating from our hearts is going out in signals all around us. It's affecting everything. So how we are internally is going to affect everything around us, and that just shows us what we can do. And when enough people ask themselves, what on earth is happening? When we talk of vaccinations, when we talk of wars which are happening, all of this is because we have deviated from source. We've deviated from our natural birthright, because being free is our birthright. How come everything else in existence is in harmony? The birds are singing, they're happy, they're free, because essentially they are in divine alignment. They are operating in divine law. And for many of us, we have to really strive to get back there. We have to return back to nature, because essentially there is nowhere else to go. We've created a concrete jungle and we've barricaded ourselves in. So on my journey, I'm realizing that because there is only now, I have to do it right now. And I have to essentially connect with like minds and realize that we hold the key to our own metamorphosis. Nobody is coming to save you but yourself. Infinite waters diving deep once again, enjoying the garden with the birds behind me. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace.